going on? How's everyone doing?
Shout out to Colin. Everybody else who's cool with Colin.
Chunky! I didn't say.
Get your popcorn and your Coca-Cola and relax.
Anyway, tell Colin I'm ready.
What's going on? This is Colin. How's everybody doing? I hope you're having a great day so far. Happy Sunday. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Yeah, I had a good weekend. Hope you guys did too. You guys want to watch some court? I want to watch some court. Let's watch some court. Before we get into it, I want to. This might take a minute. Let's talk for a minute. Let's talk about Friday. Friday was fun. It's something I can't do very often, but it was fun. And unfortunately, I was not able to. I didn't have control of the chat, right? So I couldn't, highlight messages and individually thank everyone for their super chats. So I have a list. And I'm just going to walk through and everyone that super chatted, I'm going to thank. I will say that going back, I can't see the list of membership milestones and gifted memberships. I can't see those. So I do apologize. I don't know what to do. I've got the list of super chats, but for whatever reason in the YouTube studio, I can't see those. So I actually have to pull up the stream to find those, which, you know what, I probably should do that. Anyways, let me just go ahead and walk through this list real quick, just to make sure everyone gets a thank you for super chats, because you guys were very generous on Friday night. So I'm just going down the list. So if I say your name twice, it's because you super chatted more than once. So we have Legal Fiction, Phil, David E. Waterbury, Rob, Mayor, Jedi, Cheshire Cat, David E. Waterbury again, Liberty Bell, Sovereign Citizen Encounters, Phil, Kara, Who Loves You Baby, twice in a row. Legal Fiction, Loki, Legal Fiction again, Phil. Let's see, where'd I go? Vic, Jedi, Chris, Sparkle Poots. I love cookies. I remember that conversation. Mayor, Otto, Phil, Caroline, and Legal Fiction. All right, I actually went through that really fast, but everyone that super chatted, thank you so much. The membership milestones, gifted memberships, you guys are awesome. It was a great night. Yeah, so I appreciate it. All right. Ed. KFAR lost. If there's winners and losers of Friday, KFAR lost for sure. What else was I going to say before we started? Judge Slavin just confirmed Tuesday night, so we are a go. We are going to be we're going to be covering a sovereign citizen case. However, I played it last week. I was going to hold off on playing it, and for whatever dumb reason, I forgot that I was going to hold it, and I played it on, I think, Thursday night. So I'm going to try to put something together and send it to him to see if he minds watching something else. But he likes to watch the case before he comes on panel. So I'll see if he cares if I change it. But we might be watching the same thing, just so you know. But Judge Slavin, it'll make it different. It'll make it fun. So if it is the same case, I apologize. But we're still going to have fun. Okay. All right. That was, close to my longest intro ever. So let's get on with the video. So tonight we have Judge Simpson. This is a probation violation hearing where the victim is accusing the defendant of violating a protection order. Now, at the end of this, I've got a lot of unique takes on this video because I was there in person for this sentencing. This was one of my court crawl days where I was actually there in person when they got sentenced. And when I covered the case, 6 months ago, I said something that not a lot of people enjoyed because I said something that I felt, it was just an opinion, but kind of came across wrong. But now I can go back and say I nailed it. And I will explain that at the end of this, but I'm going to let it play because if I say it now, it's going to spoil it. So I'm not going to. All right. Now we're ready. Judge Simpson, let's go. Before I hit that play button, you know what to do. Hit the like and subscribe. Do your jump kick backflips. Let's go.
Court does call the case. Case of the People versus Jason Stevens.
First Assistant Public Defender Clint Anderson, with and on behalf of Mr. Stevens, Your Honor, submitted a form he's requesting to have the Public Defender's Office appointed.
Okay, your name, sir?
Jason Stevens.
All right. Is that correct, sir? You're wishing?
Yes.
All right. All right. This is a public defender case. I have, yes, Ms. Polarica.
Your Honor, I was just going to state for the record that Mr. Stevens is before the court today for a violation of probation hearing. There is an alleged violation of the contact order dated April 25th, 2025.
Hey, what's up, Shane? Good to see you. Real quick, I just want to say the reason why he isn't represented by counsel and they had to go through that, he's on probation. So after sentencing, I think it's generally, 30 days after your sentence, the public defender is no longer part of your case. I don't know what it is. It might be different in each jurisdiction, but there's a given amount of days that after you're sentenced, you no longer have representation in your case because you're on probation. In theory, you shouldn't need an attorney. You just have check-ins every once in a while, unless you mess up. So that's what he's being accused of now, which is why they had to go through the process of getting an attorney for him.
Probation did provide the court with this report for that incident.
I think we can approach before we begin.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't edit this out. All right, that's fine. It's not very long. That's why I missed it. What's up, Gertrude? Hi, Tarina.
And
And Your Honor, the victim, Kashmir Morley, is present should the court.
yes, well, I have the report. And I guess, Ms. Morley, if you could come forward to the podium, please. Can you state your name, please?
Kashmir Morley.
All right. Can I have her sworn, please?
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name.
Kashmir Morley.
All right, Ms. Morley, the report that I have in front of me indicates that,
I can answer that. He's a district court judge, so he doesn't have jurisdiction over sentencings for felonies. He can do the preliminary exams, but once you waive your preliminary exam, you're moved to circuit court where they handle felonies. That's why. So he can do misdemeanors and landlord-tenant cases, and civil matters, I believe, too. But yeah, not felonies. That's district court versus circuit court. Now that's Michigan. I'm sure every state's different. I think. I don't know.
Mr. Stevens appeared at your place of work and waited in line to speak with you?
Those are two separate events, but that's correct.
What do you mean they're two separate events?
There was a workplace event where he showed up at my place of work, and then when he was waiting in line to come to me, it was to a networking event that I was putting together, that I was hosting.
Okay. So, well, now, I mean, I'm looking here and it just says Stevens appeared at Morley's place of work, waited in line to speak with you. When you refused to have contact with him, he waited around the venue for 10 more minutes before leaving. So now you're telling me, that sounds to me like what they're describing to me is one event, but you're saying there are two. Which one occurred first?
The workplace event. That was in March.
Mary Smith, thank you so much. Extremely generous of you. 20 gifted memberships. Welcome to the 20 new members. Mary, thank you. Thank you. While I'm paused, I'll knock these out. Mary, that's awesome. JP Jazz for 5 months. Thank you so much, JP Jazz. Pope Phil, good to see you, Pope. And thank you so much. And Mary with 10 more. Jesus, Mary. 30 gifted memberships. Mary is making it rain. Thank you so much, Mary. I do appreciate it. 30 new members. Welcome to all the new members. And Clip Clop with the late fee. Thank you so much, Clip Clop. I appreciate the super chat. I realize I'm really far back in the chat. I need to speed up my reading.
Where do you, the workplace event, where he came to your place of work?
Where do I work?
Well, in March, you're saying he came to your place of work. Where do you work?
I put some hours in at the Ann Arbor Art Center.
Pardon?
The Ann Arbor Art Center.
Okay.
And now we have a Biggin raid. We're going to get through this video, I promise. Biggin, thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it. Welcome to the Raiders. Biggin, you were awesome. Thank you. I cannot wait to see the conclusion of that video you were playing, Biggin. I have it paused. I had to leave at about 5 till. So hopefully, let's see. If you're just raiding now, I've got about at least 10 minutes of rest, 10 minutes more to watch. And I have a feeling it's about to blow up. So Biggin, thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it. And Gertrude with a super chat. Thank you, Gertrude. Answer my question, get a super chat. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you. I do. Thank you for the super chat.
So,
I need to let Biggin's folks know what we're watching. So Judge Simpson, clearly, this is a probation violation hearing. We just started, so you haven't missed anything. And I did say during my intro that the sentencing for this case about a year, I was going to say about 9 months ago. I was in person in Judge Simpson's courtroom. And when I covered the case at the time, I had a very hard opinion on something that happened and something that I saw in person that you wouldn't see on YouTube. And I kind of got some slack for it, but it proved right. At least in my head, I proved myself right. So I feel happy about it. So I'll say what my comment was at the end of the stream, but we're just getting started. Probation violation hearing. The defendant is accused of contacting her. So that's what it is. Okay. Biggin, again, thank you so much for the raid. We're good now.
and that was on March.
Probably would have been mid-March sometime.
And that's kind of where you would work every day?
Not every day, but I'm part-time there, so I'm there frequently.
Okay. In your mind, did he have a purpose for coming there? If he was there?
It was my understanding that there was, excuse me, I have allergies going on today. There was an exhibition I think that he was supposed to help out with. That's as far as I know. But the times that he showed up, there was nothing work pertaining going on, according to the people that I spoke with.
So where he shows up there and then what does he do vis-a-vis you?
One of the people that I work with said that they saw him just wandering around the building, not really with a
All right. I know you're just, kind of trolling, but you completely missed when I said the sentencing happened 9 months ago. I was guessing when it was. It was when I was in person. I'm not there in person in this. So this isn't the sentencing. So yeah, Ed, I think you're just kind of joking / trolling, but yeah. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Chris, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate it. Welcome to the 5 new members. While I'm paused, let me just knock these out. And then we'll let it play for a bit. Idaho Wiggles for 6 months. Thank you so much, Idaho Wiggles. I appreciate it. And Vic for 13 months. That is awesome. It's been a good 13 months. Yes, it has. Mainly because you've been hanging out with us, Vic. That's why it's been so great. And thank you. Okay, let's let it go.
purpose, and nobody knew who he was or why he was there.
Okay, did he see you?
No,
Well,
I didn't see him. And I don't
You
think he
did
saw
not see him.
Mm-mm. But I knew he was in the building because of email correspondences that were going on
What email correspondence?
in the workplace. I'm on like an all staff email chain. And so I was told that he was going to come into the building for an exhibition.
So, and correct me if I'm wrong. So you're told via this email that he's coming into the building. And at least according to that work email, he was entering that place for some legitimate purpose.
The email said that he had showed up Nobody knew who he was, but apparently he was putting on an exhibition. So they were talking about him coming randomly out of nowhere and saying that he was there for an exhibition. So they were discussing that. And then the email said that there was an exhibition to take place in March that apparently he was supposed to be a part of, but nobody knew who he was or why he was there. That was the email.
Okay. I guess I. If nobody knew who he was, did they know his name?
Well, I'm sure he's probably told them his name because they said his name in the email, but in the correspondence, they said they didn't know who he was at the time that he appeared.
Do you have copies of those emails?
Not with me, no.
Do you have access to copies of them?
I could probably get some, yeah.
And then the other event took place, what was that, May 5th?
That was April 25th.
April 25th was the second thing?
Mhm.
Okay, and where did that allegedly happen?
I was hosting a networking event at Venue by 4M in Ann Arbor. And he appeared and he stood in line and I was checking people in and he stood in line so that I could check him into an event that I was hosting and stood longer in line than he did at the actual event.
So you're hosting an event?
Mhm. Me and the crew of other people, but I was on the hosting committee.
So he comes there, or do you?
Mhm.
Would he, in going to the event, would there have been another way, assuming he's there?
She's the victim. I don't know. No, she's not the plaintiff. That would be the state. But she's the victim of. I don't remember exactly what the case was. I feel like it was a domestic violence case. Now, I just a real quick background. Okay. I gotta try to remember the details. This was a work relationship gone wrong. He's married. I don't remember if he has kids or not. I don't remember if he was married, but he was in a relationship. I'm guessing he was married, and he started a relationship with her, and they worked together. I think he was her boss, and after a while, he broke it off, and it went bad. And she was claiming that he ruined her career. That once they broke it off, that she was essentially not given any project. That eventually led to her being let go. So everything happened, I believe, after she was let go from the company, or maybe she quit because she wasn't getting the projects. And that's why I say I don't remember the exact charge, but for the no contact order to be there, I imagine it's some kind of domestic violence or some kind of, if they weren't, they were in a relationship, they weren't living together. I don't know. Something close to that. Okay. So I hope that cleared it up a little bit for you guys.
That he would have been able to access the event without checking in with you?
That was the only way, was to go through me. And I was an organizer on the event. So if you were paying attention to the event at all, my name was all over that. There was no way you couldn't have known that I was part of it.
Okay, but I could know that you're part of an event, can go to an event, avoid you, but prior to coming to the event, would he have known that you were at the desk or wherever it needed to be checked in?
I don't know if he knows that or not, but he had at least 10 minutes waiting in line to get to me to turn around and leave the event. And he chose to come and approach me instead.
Okay, so when he approached you, what did he say?
Yes, that is what she's accusing. He was at an event that she was hosting, and she has a no contact against him.
He said good morning and tried to have me check him in. We have a no contact order, so I didn't speak to him. And the person next to me who was helping check people in then took over because she didn't know the situation and checked him into the event. And he stayed less than 10 minutes and left at a networking event.
Okay, so. So he comes to the event. So it's not a circumstance where you're the only one checking people in. There's somebody else there.
Sitting right next to me. Yep.
Okay, so he comes up, he says, good morning. Is that the only thing he said to you?
He tried to have conversation at the desk and I
What do
didn't
you
have
mean,
anything.
have conversation?
He checked himself in and then started talking about a hat that he was wearing and started trying to have conversation with me. And then when I didn't say anything, the woman next to me ushered him into the event, and he wasn't signed up for this event either.
Well, did you have to be?
You were supposed to be, yes.
Okay, but did you have to be?
We were letting people in anyway, but that was not the intent. Because it was the first event that we were throwing.
So those are the two events.
Mhm.
So are you claiming that there are any other?
Hey, what's up, KFR? How are you feeling today? How are you feeling? You've already been mentioned in the chat a dozen times, so I think we Beetlejuiced you. I hope you are well. It is good to see you.
Other events that took place?
I'm here because of the April 25th event.
Okay. Are you claiming that there are any other events of contact? Okay. So in mid-March, after let me, just so that I'm correct, mid-March, he never comes in eye shot of you, right?
That's correct.
All right, and so you don't see him.
Mhm.
The April event, it's basically a public event,
Mhm.
right? He's entering, and you're saying he said good morning. You didn't check him in. And then you're saying he tried to engage you in conversation, but that didn't happen.
No, with me, I mean, he spoke, but I didn't speak. And then the person next to me who was helping me check people in took him into the event.
Okay, after that event, or right at that point, did you contact the police at that point?
No, because I was there checking people in, and it was also our first event, and I didn't really feel comfortable having the police come to this event right when we were starting to host things, so I didn't know what to do.
Okay, so when did you contact the police about this?
I believe it was the following week. It might have been the week after. I can't remember the exact date. But I was speaking to the probation officer and she told me to file a police report, which is what I did.
Okay, but here's what I'm indicating, or trying to figure out. This occurs April 25th, which would have been a Friday,
Mhm.
right? Approximately what time?
The event ran from 8:30 to 9:45. So I think probably around 8:45, 9 o'clock is when he showed up.
All right. And the event ran how long that day?
Until 9:30.
Till 9:30. PM,
AM.
AM. So from 8:30 to 9:30 was the event. It's basically an hour.
Mhm.
Okay.
There might have been 9:45, 9:30, 9:45 ish is when it,
Okay, that's fine. So it didn't go all day.
correct.
And then so when did you then contact the police about this?
It was either the following week or the week after. I can't remember the exact date.
Would May 7th?
I'm not sure of the exact date, sir.
Yeah, I agree with that. If she, the second she saw him, if she was afraid of him, she instantly would have walked, let someone know, went and called the police right that instant. Not waited a week or two to report it. But we haven't heard his side yet, so I don't want to jump all over this yet. This gets interesting. Oh, you know what? Since I already paused it, let me catch up real quick. I think I was at Peeps. Peeps, thank you so much for the 16 months. That is awesome, Peeps. Thank you. I appreciate it. Marty, for 13 months. Thank you so much, Marty. Unfortunate altar boy for 3 months. Great to be here. I'm glad you're here as well. And thank you so much for the 3 months. Emin Kind for being a new member. Welcome to the family. I appreciate it. Thank you. And Sparkle Poots. Hope his family doesn't have a bunny. They might. Thank you, Sparkle.
Have you read the police report on this?
No, I have not.
Jordan, would you like me to give her my copy?
Yeah, if you could, I'd just like her to read the victim statement.
Pair. Your comment made me laugh, and I wanted to pause it just because every time I see your name, I say it out loud now, so I don't forget how to pronounce it. It is good to see you. And trying to think of the last networking event I was at. I don't know. It's been a while. But yeah, I remember kind of thinking they were the same as the forced work events, the team building events. I absolutely hated the team building events. I would always try to find excuses out of them. If I had a doctor appointment coming up, tell you what, I took a doctor appointment over lunch so I didn't have to go to a team building event. I'm that guy.
Okay.
Is that statement correct?
No, this is not correct. This is jumbling the events together, and it's also not what happened.
I'm just talking about the victim statement.
Mhm.
How is it jumbling the events together?
It says that this is the second time that he tried to speak to me. He just tried to speak to me when he came into the event. There wasn't like a time he came back to talk to me. And also placing a hat on so that no one would recognize him. That's not how that occurred.
Okay, so how big was this event?
There was probably 100 people there.
Okay, so he went into the event, he didn't stay long and then left.
He waited longer in line to check in than he did at the event. Than he was at the event.
Okay, it's the second time you said that. So what am I supposed to take from that?
That he waited in line longer to get to me than he actually stayed at the event. If he was there for work, for networking, I don't know why you would say
So-
there to network.
How many of these events have you done, say, this year?
This is the first one we had this past April.
Okay. How often are you at your part-time job?
20 hours a week.
Okay. So other than this March date, I'm just talking this year at this point.
Mhm.
Has he come into your work?
Not that I know of. I have not seen him.
Okay. And then after July of 2024, were you also participating in events?
I was not hosting them, but I was going to networking events. Yes.
So you did, so this is the first event you hosted.
Correct.
Whole encounter between you and him on April 25th is crazy. How long was that encounter?
Him speaking to me.
Yeah, I'm talking.
Probably like 3 to 5 minutes.
Wait, she just said it takes 3 to. How long was the encounter? The encounter was her checking him in, right? That was the encounter. How in the world does that take 3 to 5 minutes? She said all he said was good morning. I didn't say anything back. Yeah, I don't know. I've been to a lot of dumb corporate events that never took 3 to 5 minutes. You generally just walk up, take your name tag, and they check you off a list. That's what a check-in is.
Okay, anything else you want to tell me?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, and I guess not that I've made a finding, what do you want the court to do?
Something so this doesn't keep happening. I'm sick of being contacted by him.
Okay, so, ma'am, you've only told me of one incident.
This is at least the third time I've called the Ann Arbor precinct about no contact violations.
But
Your Honor, I believe that she's referencing the 2 others that was well on that.
that were that I've already addressed because these were sentenced after.
Correct. That's what I believe, and I'm,
Yeah,
okay.
you're correct.
It was a December 8th and January 5th.
All throughout the time.
December 8th of 2023 and a January 5th of 2024.
The time period between December and then July, there were emails, there were letter he left in my mailbox. There was dozen times.
Right, I
contacted with him.
recall all that, ma'am,
Mhm.
but the reason I'm using the July date
Mhm.
is because that's when he was sentenced,
Mhm.
right? And you're saying that so between July and this July of 2024 and the April date, has he been in contact with you?
He drives by my house all the time and says he's going to his
No,
rental
okay.
unit,
One thing I
but
remember about this case is I think he has a rental property in the same neighborhood that you're in.
I
We had
would like to know
deal
the
with
address of that, but yes,
What?
I'd like to know the address to it, but yes, that's what he's claimed.
Well, I don't think that was ever disputed at the time of sentencing, that he has a rental property up that way. And that he would go we had a whole discussion about it.
Mhm. Does he need to park in front of my house to get to his rental unit?
It's like right there. I mean,
If it's on the same street, it doesn't mean he needs to park in front of my house to get there.
So how many times are you saying that happened?
Countless times.
When that happens, does he engage you in any way? Does he heads off someplace else? He heads
No,
off to
he
this
sits in
other-
his car. He doesn't head anywhere else.
So when that happens, did you call the police?
Yes,
When?
I called the police as early as this week when that happened. Like Monday.
Hold on.
And they
Oh.
told me there's nothing that they could do about it because it's a public street.
So what day did you call the police about this?
About the April event?
No, about April event, you didn't contact him till May 5th. But about him being out in front of your house
Monday.
this past Monday?
Mhm.
And what did they do? They did nothing?
He told me there's nothing that he could do because he had left by the time that they got there. And then he said it was a public street. So even though I had photos, it didn't matter. That's what he told me.
Did you show the officer the photos?
No, he didn't want to see them. He said it didn't matter.
What time did you call there on Monday?
6 o'clock.
6 p.m.? So other than that, when you call the police, have you contacted, you're saying, you're using phraseology like all the time and those kinds of things. And I'm trying to figure out where you're saying he's in front of your house. Other than this past Monday, right? Have you called the police about him being there?
Yes.
On how many occasions?
Probably between 5 and 10 at this point. I don't know how many like actual case numbers I have or whatever that's
Do you
called,
have the
but
case numbers?
not on me, no.
Do you have the request for service numbers?
Not on me, no. But I have the card from Monday, not with me, but I do have that number.
You have a rental property in the neighborhood, right? Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay, and it's, as I'm recalling, it's adjacent in a sense to where she resides. It's like right in that same area.
You like me to answer?
Yeah,
Yes, from the end of the driveway, her apartment would be visible. When she says,
I recall that. I was trying to make sure I was recalling that part of it correctly. All right. Okay, and so ma'am, I was at the point, what do you want me to do?
Something.
I-
I'm tired of him contacting me. He could have gone to any other networking event. He didn't have to go to one that I was putting on. And if he was actually there for work, then he should have been networking instead of just leaving 5 minutes after checking in. But he stood in line to see me and contact me, and there's a witness to that.
Why he stood in line, did you?
Why did he leave 5 minutes after then if he was there for work? And I have a witness to the whole thing.
Pardon?
I have a witness to the whole thing.
Who's your witness?
The person that was sitting next to me.
And who is that?
What's her name?
Yes.
Her name is Aylin Walters.
She available?
Not today,
How do you know?
because I asked her.
When would she be available?
I don't know.
Do you have contact information for this Miss Walters that you could share with Miss Polera?
I do.
All right. Okay, anything else you want to tell me? All right, thank you. All right, sir. And I know you're represented by, no, you're okay, come on.
You need your glasses, Mr.
I think I know what's on, yeah.
All right, before we get into his side, let's catch up real quick. I think it's just one. Terry Barnes, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it, and it's always good to see you. Always good, Terry. I love that every single time that you see me, doesn't matter where I'm at, another channel, in a court, you're always like, good. You always say hi to me, and I notice that, and I appreciate that. So thank you, Terry. All right. This is where it gets interesting. Pay attention.
Let's have him sworn.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name.
Jason Stevens.
Stevens. And if at any point you're uncomfortable answering any of the questions the court has, then you've got counsel here. Do you recall being in the, I guess, Ann Arbor Art Center in March?
Yes,
Why? Why were you there?
I have brought with me the contract signed for my company to install an exhibition there in March.
Can I see that? I mean,
It also includes a timeline on the front page and correspondence with Ms. Morley's employer about
hold on.
the exhibition.
Hold on.
Yeah, he came with receipts. He's like, nope, I'm not doing this. Nanya, thank you so much for the 10 gifted memberships. I appreciate it. It's very generous of you. And welcome to the 10 new members. Thank you, Nanya.
So you were supposed to be there regarding an event. There's a contract regarding the event.
That is correct.
That's why you were there in March.
Yes.
All right. And then, well, let me ask you in March, did you see her at all?
There's about 100 more people in here now than the last time I explained it. So I'll do a real quick rundown for those of you that are coming in late. They had a little affair fling. They were coworkers. I believe he was her, maybe not direct boss, but I think that he had seniority over her in whatever position she had. I also believe he was married. I don't know if he still is or was at the time. So they had like a little secret affair. He ended it. She wasn't happy about that, and she ended up leaving the job, getting fired. I don't know. And then the charges happened. So that's kind of the background story of what happened. I don't remember what the original charge was either. Because of a no contact order, I imagine it was some kind of DV. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't remember. I just remember at the sentencing, he didn't really fight anything. He just sat there and he just took it. And that's what I remember most about this case is he didn't want to argue. He wanted nothing to do with her. and he just accepted it and took the punishment. That's what I remember most about the sentencing.
I was not aware she worked there until her employer called and told me.
When did that happen?
The week before installation was supposed to happen.
She said she worked there. You were told that she worked there.
Yes.
Were you told? Well, how'd that conversation go? Why? Well, let me ask you this. Why did their employer then tell you that?
Apparently, Ms. Morley told her employer, the director of the Ann Arbor Art Center, that she had a restraining order against me and that I wasn't allowed into her place of work. Her employer, knowing that I was there to install an exhibition, called me in a bit of a panic, and we talked about it on the Friday before installation.
Okay, and what between the employer and yourself, what, when you say you talked about it, what was worked out regarding that?
The fact that, well, the employer asked that I not come into the building.
Kim, that's worded perfectly, because that's essentially exactly what happened. I'll talk more about it after this case, though, because I do want to give my 2 cents on what I remember from the case. Yeah, I think you guys will appreciate it.
Okay.
Of course, that created a difficult situation because I had a responsibility in the building and an exhibition that was opening a week later. So we had to work out how that work would actually get done without me being able to be in the building. My coworkers did not want to go after they learned about this, so we had to find a surrogate to do that work. We ended up working through other people. I worked remotely. I did not go into the building, despite this being a physical job, but it all came off okay. So,
Well, hold on a second. Were you in the building in March then?
before that phone call, I was going in and meeting with people to talk about the logistics.
That's what I'm trying to clear up.
Yeah.
The mid-March point, you heard the testimony was Morley. Had you been told at that point that she worked there?
No.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure. I wanted to make sure I had my timing right. So then you're told that, well, her employer or the director of the building calls you, tells you that. And even though you had contracted to do this installation, right? Did you enter the building after that?
Nope. Have not been back since.
Got it. Okay. And then what happened? Do you recall April 25th event?
Oh yeah.
Go ahead. What do you want to tell me about that? Did you go, I think it was on South Industrial or something?
Place called Venue.
Yeah.
Used to be a grocery store, I think. I was on a podcast with a fellow. I met the fellow and learned that he was speaking at this event, a new professional networking event that was being hosted at Venue. I decided I would go check it out. Saw another colleague earlier in the week. She said she was going. I said, cool, I'll meet you there. Went to that event at 8:30. I was actually there right at 8:30. When I walked in, I saw that Kashmir Morley was checking people in, but she was one of 2 people. I stepped aside, waited for the other woman's line to empty. I went up to her. I checked in. She complimented my hat.
Who did?
The woman that I checked in with, apparently her name is Alin Walters.
Okay.
She complimented my hat. I said, thank you, I made it myself. And then I went into another room where the actual event was taking place, grabbed a glass of water, went into that room, saw the friend that I had agreed to meet there, saw another couple of people. And I did leave before the event started, before Hein actually began talking. I left through a side door because I didn't want to be in the same room as Ms. Morley. And that was it.
So So you didn't, I guess it would have been the front is where you came in.
Yeah, right by the front.
You didn't leave out the front.
Nope.
So what you're telling me is the reason you left is because she was there and that at some point, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, at some point, given that she was part of that event, she was going to be in that same room as you. And you were trying to avoid that.
Yes, I would say generally her presence was making me uncomfortable.
Okay.
I should add, I don't see her name on anything related to the event. She said she was hosting it, but that's not clear.
Do you have that with you?
So that I can explain. I added a page that's the podcast we were on. The next page is the LinkedIn post where I learned about the event. Her name is nowhere in that post. There's another internet article about the event. Her name is nowhere in that article. So
But the reality is you're not learning about this event from the internet or anything like that. You learn about it from somebody that you did a podcast with.
yeah, he was
Basically verbally
Mhm.
learn about it.
Yeah, and then I saw it on LinkedIn.
Got it. Okay, and when you saw it on LinkedIn, her name is not here. Is that what you're telling me?
That's correct.
So prior to your arrival, you didn't know she would be there.
No idea.
Anything else you want to tell me about this?
Not really.
On this one. Thank you.
Or anything else? I have no other violations or anything.
Your Honor, Ms. Morley indicates that the LinkedIn posts indicate her name on the notice. On the LinkedIn.
Yeah, and on the events page, my name is listed as an organizer.
Okay, I got a question. Why do you think he was trying to get to you?
Because he's been trying to do this the whole time. He's been doing this. That was why he left a letter. That's why he emailed me. He's trying to contact me. That's why it shows he.
Ma'am, hold on. I just asked you. What other contact has occurred with the defendant here between June or July? Just make sure I get my notes right. Between July 8th of 2024 to present, any direct contact that he's had?
I don't understand how many times I have to be contacted in order for it to matter.
You need to answer get up to the podium. You need to answer my question. You keep saying it keeps happening. You keep using these large phrases, but never giving me any specifics. So what I'm trying to figure out is how many other times from the time that he was sentenced, that's the date I'm using, up to say March or even April, how many times has he contacted you?
This has been the first direct time he's contacted me since July.
Okay, so then my question is, from that date you didn't see him, but heard about him in the building at work in March, Did he appear in the building after that at your work?
After what date?
And you said it was sometime in mid-March that you heard he was in the building. Did that occur again?
I don't know, not that I saw.
So I'm to understand that between the time I sentenced him and this day, or the April 25th date, there's been no contact.
Okay. Yes.
And on that date, at least as I see it, we can at least agree that he entered. You're saying it was because of your actions. He's saying it's because of his actions. But regardless of that, you were not the person that checked him in. Somebody else, as Miss Walters, checked him in.
He tried to get me to check him in, and when I
How
didn't
did you
contact him,
know?
because he walked up to me and said good morning to me and looked at me and said good morning and tried to have me check him into an event that I was hosting. That's how I know. He didn't look at Miss Walters, he looked at me.
And the other thing that we can, well, you're not agreeing to that, but the other thing that we can agree, he did go off and the event was taking place in another room. And then, at least as I listened to both of you, he left shortly thereafter.
That's correct.
He didn't, would you agree, didn't come back out the front where you were? He somehow or another left the event.
Yes.
And your thought is, well, what is your thought about why he left the event?
I don't know why he left if he was there for work. There to network. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay, so your belief is that he came to the event to see you,
Yes.
saw you, went into the event that, by your understanding of this, he really had no intention really to be at, because his sole intention was to see you.
I think his intention was to show up and show me that he can be around me no matter what, because nothing is getting done about this. That's what I think his intention was.
Where do you get that from?
The fact that he stood in line longer to see me, to get me to check him in than he was at the event. That's what makes me feel that way.
All right, thank you. Ms. Anderson, anything you want to say on behalf of your client at this point?
Your Honor, I haven't heard anything that gives rise to any direct or indirect contact. She's referenced the events, two separate events, the March 2025 event. Doesn't appear that she even knew that he was in the building. I don't see anything that gives rise to any contact. She didn't see him, he didn't speak directly with him, and my client has presented information that he was there for work purposes. Once he found out that she was there, he found ways to work remotely, which would indicate to me at least, that he was trying to comply with the court's orders with regards to that. The April event, again, he's there for networking. I mean, it's almost in that situation a lose-lose for Mr. Stevens. She's complaining that he stayed only 10 minutes, and if he had stayed the full event, that also would have been a problem. Your Honor, I don't see anything that gives rise to any violation of probation, and I would ask the court to dismiss this.
I'm gonna step out for a moment. Miss Valera, can you call AAPD?
Oh, I'm laughing way too hard at this comment. Oh, whatever. Thank you so much for that. Aliens will never speak to us. Yeah. I mean, just watch this. I wouldn't come near us either. Thank you so much for that. While I'm paused, let me grab the super chat. Michael, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Aren't you good law folks supposed to know that we are not supposed to consider what happened previously during the hearing? That'd be true if we were witnesses. We're not witnesses. We're just spectators. They can't kick us out of the court for being spectators. So no. And I don't like to consider myself a good law folk. I'm a middle of the road average law folk. That's me. Everyone else is good. I'm just eh. But thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it.
And ask them
Yes, I will.
about requests for service from Monday and those before
Yes.
and what, yeah.
I will.
Can you, if they can get us a list and guys, give me about 15 minutes and let her do that. And you got the contact information?
That's not the prosecutor. That is Miss Polera. She is I don't know her exact position, but she works with probation. So I don't know if but she's always in court whenever there's anything to do with probation. So that's who that is. And this is a probation violation hearing, so that's why she's there.
From Mr. Walters. Ms. Flair.
I will get it for her.
Okay, and can you see if you can reach out to her too? I know I'm giving you a lot.
That's okay.
All right, and then we'll reconvene. I'll come back on short. Thank you. Court's in standing recess.
Oh, I paused it. I could have paused it now. All right. I don't remember this rant being this long because Judge Simpson's about to go off. I don't remember it being this long, but we still have about 20 minutes left.
We're back on the record in the case of the People versus Jason Stevens. He's present with counsel and so is Morley present. The court took a brief recess and I asked for Miss Polera to check a couple things for me. Miss Polera.
Yeah, sure, and I do have that information for the court. As far as reaching the witness, Ms. Walters, I did leave a message, there was no answer, so I wasn't able to get through with her. As for the calls for service to Ann Arbor PD, they had 3 that they were able to provide. One was on May 5th, which is the probation violation report from today's hearing. There was one from May 12th, this past Monday. They indicated there was no report, just notes for that call of service. There was notes say, saw the defendant drive by one time, no violation because he owns property down the street. They had nothing other than that since July of 2024 with a call for service. No report, notes were possible harassment, no action taken. Probation also wants.
Just, and so we can clarify, the July date would have been right around when he was sentenced.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And probation also wants to make the court aware, Mr. Stevens did report to probation the incident that happened in early March, where he was in the building doing work. He reported that to my office, indicating the same that he testified today, just so the court is aware.
That he was in the building, then informed later that she worked there.
Correct. And so he wanted that known and reported. So Mr. Stevens did report that to my office.
Okay. Court's ready to rule. And I'm just gonna maybe be painfully blunt regarding this.
Oh, he's going to be painfully blunt. Yeah. Let's put it this way. It's about to go down. I think you guys know what's about to happen. Yeah. All right, let's do it.
I, because of my docket, have numerous people reporting incidents of contact, incidents of harassment, incidents of those kinds of things, and have to try to deal with them and sort them out. Sometimes it turns on the little things as to what transpired because I'm not there. But other times it's real clear that somebody has had contact. Other times it also is clear in the opposite direction that there was no intended contact, some contact may have been incidental, or very short-lived. As I listen to the parties in this case, I'll just say this. Ma'am, I don't know why you have this belief that Mr. Stevens is spending his life trying to be near you. I don't think that's the case at all. Certainly not by any of what I've been shown today. And quite frankly, you lied to this court. Yes, ma'am, you have. I don't want you shaking your head because you're playing with the wrong judge. You are playing with the wrong judge. I am dealing with people's liberty, with their freedom. And it is with sometimes a heavy heart that I have to restrict people's freedom, or I have to take somebody's freedom and their liberty. And I don't want to do it where I don't have to. I particularly don't want to do it where somebody comes before the court complaining of something that is just so unbelievable and at times twisted as to what's going on. Mr. Stevens, quite frankly, if he were not one to want to tell me the truth about what happened, the very fact, and I'll just deal with the March date, the very fact you never see him, but somebody says he's there, he could have gotten up before me, he could have said, I was never in that building. And just say that, there's not going to be anybody that's going to show that he's in that building necessarily, he'll just say I wasn't there. He doesn't do that. And in fact, gets before this court, explains the entire circumstance of when he's in the building, then does the right thing once he's informed that you work there. He does two things right. One is he doesn't go back to the building and has to logistically try to figure out a way to fulfill his obligations under his contract. But he does that because of this court's order. He purposely doesn't violate that. He doesn't try to use the contract as some excuse to then go back into the building saying, well, I had to go there and I was just going to work. He doesn't do any of that. He just stays away. That's the first thing that he did that was right. The second thing that he did that was correct in that regard is that he, when it came time for him to report to probation, understanding he had had no police contact regarding that event, nothing really comes out of it. But he reports it to his probation officer that this transpired and that this is what I had to do. I've read that report that he submitted. It is almost verbatim what he told me today. Not knowing that today was going to even manifest itself in this, he already reported that that's what happened. And that this is what then actions he took to make sure he wasn't there. So your indication, and it's just misguided that it is that he came there looking for you, is just wrong. It just simply is wrong. He was not looking for you. He was just trying to do his job or do his work, found out he couldn't because you were there, and then stayed away and had to figure out some other way to do it. Then we get to the April 25th date. The April 25th date, I guess the only thing I can say regarding Mr. Stevens' behavior is I wish he had done something different. And that is that upon getting to the door, seeing you, I wish he had turned around and walked back out. I don't know, quite frankly, that would have prevented us from being here, but certainly I would have wished that he did. But I understand what he did do. And what he did, this is again identical to what he indicated to probation, but he also said it to this court today under oath. He goes in, you don't check him in. I believe him when he says, I stepped to the side to wait for the other one, because I think you have some fixation on him or his, or what he's thinking. And you can keep shaking your head all you want, because I can go all day. Because I think there's something wrong in this whole thing. I believe him that he stepped to the side, checked in. You then take some and make some nefarious argument about him coming there to see you. Why? Because he didn't stay for the whole event. Well, he didn't stay for the whole event, as he reported to probation. And the other thing is that he went in, gave his greetings and goodbyes basically to the people that he was supposed to meet there, and then left. And then made the conscious decision, because you were there, not to go back out the way I came in. He just left out a side door and said, I'm out. As I said, the only thing I wish he had done, but again, I don't know that would have prevented us from being here, is to just at the front door have turned around and left. But I get why he didn't, because he had told people that he was going to be there. He was just going to go in, do this, get out. He wasn't going to stay there. I believe him when he says, I was going to be uncomfortable if she was in that same event. And he got himself out. That is consistent.
MGT, what videos are you referring to? The previous ones of this case? I'll get to that in a second. But if that's what you're asking, I'll try.
Quite frankly, in a lot of ways, with what he did in March. There's absolutely no, this court sees it, no violation that this court could take any action. But then when I look at it, you kept saying, and I was cautioning you on this one, ma'am, or you were addressing the court, that you keep saying these sort of grand statements about him, that it's always, I want this to stop. I want whatever. And I'm saying, well, what other events have there been? And I specifically recall us dealing with his rental property and the fact of its location vis-a-vis where you live. I remember looking at a map, because somebody telling me where it can be seen and where he goes up. And you knew he had rental property there, and then had the nerve to say to me today, well, I want the address because I'm not. We went through that whole thing in July in excruciating detail. You know he has it there. And how do I also know that you know he has it there? The Monday call to the police, which, by the way, is really suspicious, because I don't have any calls for service except at the time of his sentencing, just this general harassment thing, which they didn't take any action on. And then Monday. Here's the interesting thing about Monday. That call comes into the Ann Arbor Police Department at 6 p.m. On the same date that my staff set this hearing. We set the hearing at approximately a little after 12 that day, but via email to Ms. Polera. By 6 o'clock, I then all of a sudden have some complaint against this gentleman with the Ann Arbor police as though you had to sort of bolster some issue against him. Then you exaggerated, if not perjured yourself under oath before this court when I'm asking how many calls have you made? Well, here's the thing you may not realize. Any police department you call will have detailed notes of what they did in their response to service, which is when you said how many times you had called, I asked Ms. Polaire to check that out. There's only 3. Since the time of sentencing, there's only 2. One being your report of this April 25th date, which didn't happen until the 5th. And then a week later, another call to the Ann Arbor Police Department, frankly, in response to this court setting a hearing and trying to drive and make a case against this gentleman. You lied to me. Just out and out lied. You haven't been calling the police. You haven't been doing any of that. And quite frankly, because there are serious cases of victims that come before this court that are harassed by people, they may not get the facts right. They may not understand certain things, but they will tell the court from their perspective what happened. But one thing I've never found, while I may not quite, they might have the facts of the law, I've never found just a blatant lie like this, ever. Saying that somebody has harassing you to such a point that, yes, I've had to call the police this many times. You haven't called the police. He wasn't there at that April 25th incident to see you. He was there to go to that event. Your weird belief that somehow or another his reason for going there was because he saw your name and decided to just gallivant down there, let me see if she's there. Seriously? I am not finding a violation. And young lady, I'm going to tell you, and I just have to think about it, but I may end up sanctioning you for lying to this court. If you got something real to bring this about somebody, I don't mind you coming here. But we've been sitting here for the last almost an hour and 45 minutes trying to deal with this. All of this being mistruths and just lies about him. So while you may try to turn him into something evil, you may think he's the proverbial devil in terms of who he is, this court does not view him this way. He has been a model probationer. He has done everything. He's gone way beyond what most probationers do in reporting things that weren't crimes, but certainly something that he thought probation should know of. And the great thing about him doing that, certainly it saved him today, just by putting it out there. So the court's going to find no violation. I'm done with this. And if there's something else that comes up, then we'll deal with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. I didn't really want to pause it during that epic speech from Judge Simpson. Okay, so this is what I want to say. He kept saying July. So I guess it was July that, I don't know. I don't remember the date. But now I can actually go back and look for the video because I can look in July. So there was one of my court girls in person. I was hanging out in Judge Simpson's courtroom, and I saw the sentencing for this case. And when I was sitting there, she did her victim impact statement, and it was like I don't know, like a 15-minute speech. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, she's a dramatic one. Like, she's a dramatic one. Like, I'm sorry all this stuff happened to her, but she just went into a lot of details. So it was like, it's fine. It was like, okay. And then when asked if he wanted to say anything, I feel like he apologized to his family for putting them through this. Like, that was the direction he was going. He's like, I'm sorry that, she's hurt, my actions, whatever. And, but that's it. That's all he said. He just took it. And that's it. He never even looked at her. But the entire time, she was just staring at him, would not break eye contact with him. And he turned his chair specifically so he couldn't see her. When she was getting the victim impact statement, he was looking at the judge or saying something to his attorney. That's exactly what he was doing. And when I covered this video after I got home, I said, this reminds me of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp because of what she's doing. And he's like, I am so done with her. I just want to take this punishment and go fix my life. And I remember saying that, and it's just, people are like, oh, you're victim shaming. You don't know the situation. Like, you're right, I don't. I'm just telling you from how I saw that in court, though, this guy wants nothing to do with her. He's just taking it. He's going to be on probation and get out of there. But yeah, I said that, and I tried so hard to go find that clip so I could just take that little piece that I said that. I'm like, haha, I was right. I was right. So all those people that didn't like my comment, in my opinion, I was right. Okay, but it looks like this happened in July. I know MGT said to go back and look for these cases. I don't remember covering this entire case. I only remember covering the sentencing because I just happened to be there in person. So I will go back and try to find that, and yeah, I'll absolutely put the link to it in the description. You know what? I might even clean it up and put it out for members, so they don't have to watch the entire thing. I'll see, but I gotta find it first. All right. Anyways, that's it for tonight, guys. That's it. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. You guys are generous tonight. Mary, thank you for all the gifted memberships. Jesus. Everybody. Super chats, gifted membership milestones. It was a great night. You guys are awesome. Biggin, thank you again for the raid. I appreciate it. Tomorrow night is Members Monday. So for all the gifted memberships recipients, I hope to see you guys tomorrow night. And then Tuesday, Judge Slavin will be on panel. He's going to be hanging out with me and, answering some questions. So I can't wait for that. So, yeah, I will see you, the members, tomorrow night. I will see you guys with Judge Slavin on Tuesday. Let's see. We're set up to raid Katie Zed. She's the only person I see that's streaming, so we're going to go ahead and raid her. Go over there, tell her I said hi. I think she's been streaming for a while, so she might actually be done by the time I end. But, anyways, you guys are awesome. And yeah, that's it. Until next time, bye. I almost missed it. Michael, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate it. Welcome to the 5 more new members. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Michael. All right, let's go.
Yes.